nightdreamstalkradio.com. And check it out. It should tell you a little bit about our guest each night this week. And if you want to make a donation, you can certainly go on there and make a donation. Anything to help pay for the bandwidth. I tell you, the more listeners we get, the more it gets expensive. Anyway, here we are with some good bumper music till we come back.
Asking from the government is full disclosure. We know what we're seeing, and there are so many of us. We're not
As I gaze upon the annals of time, one thing that comes through: we are not alone in this universe. It's a thought that rings true. Ancient cave dwellers drew spacecraft on the walls. It's a recurring theme. I've seen the same thing while walking late at night, and I know it's not a dream.
From Malmstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea.
If you tell the truth, they will ridicule everything you say and do. It's all part of a deception. It's a puppet master's tool. And I've seen those craft shut down the silos from 10 miles away. And there ain't nothing that the Pentagon can do. They can't make them go away.
From Malmstrom to Manhattan, Boston to LA, there are people asking questions and they will not go away. But what has been seen might not be what it seems. The government's shadows dance in the sea. From Malmstrom to Manhattan, New York to LA, you can't get the picture if they're pale or they're gray. But what we have seen might not be what it seems when the government's shadows dance in the sea.
You can advertise your business on Night Dreams Talk Radio, and you will be heard worldwide. Why not contact us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you. Do you have a paranormal story you want to share on Night Dreams Talk Radio? You could be a guest. Email us at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com.
You are listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio Network, from our compound to you worldwide, with your host, Gary Anderson.
Well, that is me. We're trying to get a hold of Tim Swartz right now to talk about Area 51. And
hello.
Hi there, Tim. How's your night going?
Hey, going great.
Guess what? I had a malfunction. I still am having a malfunction on my main mixer board.
No.
That's one thing. You know what? When you're doing a show all the time, all it takes is one thing to have a problem.
Of course.
So why
and then it just cascades from there.
It does. And, like, I know you do a radio show, and, like these small shows, you're doing everything yourself. It's not like when I was in commercial broadcasting where, I looked through the window and there's my engineer, making sure everything works. I run 7 computers to do this show, and all it takes is one of them not to do something when it's supposed to, and then I look like an idiot.
Ouch. I don't suppose you had a Windows update.
Yeah, almost every day. And you know what? I'm pulling my hair out, Tim. My Skype updated the other day, and then it wouldn't work right. So after about an hour and a half getting a hold of somebody at Microsoft through their chat,
Good luck with that, right?
Yeah, well, you know what? I gave them permission. They went through my computer and remotely, tried to fix it. So then they took the Skype off and they put it on. It still didn't work right. The third time it worked right. But what I can't understand, I run Windows 10 on about 5 of the 7 computers. My one I'm talking to you now on through Skype is nothing more than running Skype on it. It's Windows 7. I can play my bumper music with it beautifully. I go to the new version of Skype, and it detects my music and it won't let it play.
Oh, really? Huh. That's wild.
Yeah.
All music?
Yeah.
All music?
Yeah, but any of my ads and promos work fine. But as soon as I click on anything with the bumper music, it won't play. One of my friends in a small radio station he runs, he started doing research and says that they are sensing that for copyright violations and stuff. So maybe they think that the music I'm playing, I'm violating copyright, so they're not letting it go through. It'll start playing and then it drops right out.
Huh, that's funny. That's wild. Huh. I guess you're going to have to just subscribe to Valentino music.
Yeah, or something. I don't know. Hey, Tim, why don't you tell the listeners about who you are and what you do and about your show also?
Sure. As I suppose your listeners know at this point, I'm Tim Swartz, and, I've been into the weird and strange as a investigative reporter for, oh my gosh, I've really lost count, more than 20 years. I'm not quite sure when I actually started. I mean, I unofficially started back when I was a kid and actually kind of got drug into it kicking and screaming.
Sure.
I was around 3rd grade. And back then, Scholastic Books used to put out like a little newspaper for elementary school kids. It was called like the Weekly News, I think, not to be mistaken for the supermarket tabloid, the World Weekly News. This was like an aggregate of the week's news events that was put together, for a elementary school audience and then distributed out to schools all across the country. Well, our teacher would take stories from this newspaper and give everybody in the class one of these stories, and we would have to do like a report on it and then give a presentation about it in front of the class. Well, one time I got a story about UFOs, flying saucers.
Uh-oh.
And, at 3rd grade, I mean, I had heard of them, but I really wasn't that interested. I'm an Indiana boy, so I was interested in, like the Indianapolis 500 and basketball and things like that. I had some interest in science, especially astronomy, but when it came to something like UFOs, I really had no idea. So, I mean, I did the best that I could, which, in 3rd grade, how good is that? But after I gave my presentation in front of the class, then I was paid. I was known then from years afterwards as the kid who believed in flying saucers and little green men and everything like that. Even though I really could have cared less. But nope, I was the flying saucer guy. And what made it all interesting as the years went by was that, people, in a group, they'd make fun of you and tease you and things like that. But then some would come back by themselves and tell me these great stories. They'd be like, I don't believe in this stuff, but... And then they'd proceed to tell me about how, their family saw a UFO when they were on vacation, or one time they woke up and there was their dead, Grandma Irving, standing at the end of the bed looking at them. Stories like that. And, that's what really got me interested in this stuff, was these personal stories from people who had nothing to gain. They weren't looking to get any publicity or to make money or anything like that. They had a weird experience, and a lot of these people didn't know how to handle it, how to compartmentalize it within their knowledge base. I mean, most of us, most people who don't really have any interest in these kind of things have no idea that practically everybody, at least one time in their life, maybe more, will have some kind of unusual experience. And when they do, how do you categorize that in that filing cabinet in your brain? We all have this internal computer file system, basically, in our head that compartmentalizes all of your daily experiences. You drive, the light turns red, you know to stop, the light turns green, you go on, you get up, you walk, you go to work. All of that is filed away. When something out of the ordinary happens, you're driving to work, UFO lands in front of you, and little gray guys come out and collect rocks and plant lives and then fly away again. How do you file that away? And most people, an experience like that will haunt them. And for most, they can't really go and tell most of their friends or family because they'll be teased to death. Family especially is the worst. So unless they can find somebody like myself to tell these stories, they are left with this in their heads. They think they're crazy. They have no idea what to do about it. And by a lot of times, they'll come to me, they'll tell me these stories, and they're surprised when I don't laugh at them or say that they're crazy or anything like that. But they're so happy, though, that I don't judge them or say, yeah, that's you're weird, that sort of stuff. And you can just see that weight lifted off their shoulders, and they'll go away, and they may never have to tell that story again to anybody, but it doesn't matter because they've been reassured that this stuff happens to people all the time. You're not crazy. You had an unusual experience. We in our lifetimes we never may be able to understand exactly what happened, but rest assured that you did have an unusual experience.
Now,
and that's what really got me into all of this.
Now, have you ever seen a UFO?
All these years of paying close attention to the sky and everything like that, I've only had one experience that, who knows if it actually was a UFO or not. And it wasn't actually that long ago. It was just a couple of years ago. I had let my dog outside one evening, and as I was standing on the back porch, to the southwest of me was a very bright red light in the sky. It looked kind of like a red traffic light in the sky, except it was very, very bright. And I have some astigmatism, so to me, it had like rays coming off of it. If you know what astigmatism is, it causes like bright objects to kind of scintillate almost.
Like flare?
Yeah. But it was very bright, and it was just hanging there, in the sky. It was a distance away. It wasn't like right over my yard or anything like that. And at night it's hard to tell just how far away it was. But it was very bright, and it just hung there in the sky. It didn't move. So I watched it for a little bit, thinking that, well, if this was a plane and it's coming towards me, because, a lot of times if you see a plane at night and it's coming towards you, it'll look almost like it's hovering in the sky. But I watched it for a while, and it didn't really move. Then all of a sudden, it just turned off. And I mean, it was just blink and it was gone. And